Yo, Dre. Yo, Dre. Yo, Dre.
Yes, Lord. This is Sean the Wise One back again with another episode for you guys. I am just very extremely frustrated at this point. The Miami Heat are front runners. Let's just make that clear. Uh, I am so sick and tired of watching the Heat and them flexing their muscles, bumping their chest, by winning this game, these two games. Big bullshit. Let me just come out and say it now. Big bullshit. Uh, we are so undermanned, it's not even funny. The Heat not having Jimmy Butler or not having Kyle Lowry is not the same thing as the Sixers not having Joel Embiid, again, who is the MVP of the league. It's just one of those things where we're missing a lot, and it's impossible to overcome. This Sixers team did not foresee James Harden looking the way that he is looking right now. He looks like a shell of himself. That much is kind of clear already. And if it's not to you guys, just understand that he's not that player, nor will he ever be. I'm getting to that point where I'm starting to give up. Uh, it looks like nothing, and I mean nothing, has changed in terms of Joel Embiid having to carry this team completely on the back of his shoulders. Makes absolutely no sense. You would have thought trading Ben Simmons for James Harden would make all of the difference in the world, and so far it is not looking that way. As much as I hate, and I mean I hate Ben Simmons, as much as I hate that guy, he can he can give you a lot more than what James Harden is giving you, just in the sense of being able to get downhill, at will, something that James Harden clearly cannot do. He's looking for foul calls that he's not going to get. The referees don't seem to respect him in that capacity anymore to give him those calls. Although some of these calls that they're not calling seem to be genuine fouls, but even that, he's not getting the calls nor the respect that he deserves, being the star that he once was. And so that's just one of the things another obstacle that we're facing, or that the Sixers are facing as a team right now. James Harden. Right now, this team seems like they're trying to win in spite of him. The one thing James Harden still brings to the table is that he's an excellent playmaker. He truly is. He's second to none in terms of his IQ and his playmaking ability. But with playmaking, it's tough. It goes hand in hand with scoring. The best scorers, if it makes sense to you or to the people listening, the best scorers are also the best playmakers, because they put so much stress on the defense with their ability to score that it attracts a lot defense to you, regardless whether that comes in a double team or a dig, or them just having all eyes on you as a defense. Being an explosive scorer, not even an explosive scorer, just a capable scorer, allows you to be a way better playmaker, because it just opens up the floor in ways that you could never think of if you weren't being guarded and you weren't somebody that's good at scoring. So that's the problem James Harden's facing. Although he has great IQ, players can sag off of him knowing that he probably is going to resort to that step back three. And since he shoots it at such a poor percentage, it's just inefficient basketball. He can't get to the basket. Can't get by his first defender to even worry about, getting to the second level of the defense. Right now, he can't even get by his man. You don't even have to be an excellent defender to guard James Harden right now. So, in the end, I mean, James Harden, when Joel Embiid comes back, will still have a role to play in being the point guard of the team, because that's something that the Sixers, have always needed. Tyrese Maxey is not a point guard. He's a guy that can score, but is not an excellent facilitator. That might be something he can grow into. Right now, he is still learning. And Tyrese Maxey, big ups to Tyrese Maxey. That guy is a dog. 34 points. Scored like damn near 22 points in the third quarter by himself. It's just a shame When you look at the team right now, we're not a team. We're not playing like a team. We're just playing like the team has great players on the team, and that's about it. If you look at this box score, Paul Reed, B-ball Paul, big ups to B-ball Paul. He needs to do better with getting into foul trouble. Foul trouble. With that being said, man only had 2 fouls on the game. 2 fouls, so that was good. But 4 points, that's good from Paul Reed. But look here, let's look at this. Matisse Thybulle, since he's come back, he has given this team absolutely nothing. He needs to really look back at his decision making in the offseason and what he has cost this team if this team is not able to make it past the Heat. It's just a shame. Going into the playoffs before this playoff started, Matisse Thybulle he had a rhythm. He was hitting at least 2 threes a game, maybe one, but definitely was hitting at least 2 threes a game, was getting to the basket in transition for an easy 4 points, would end the game at least giving you 10 to 12 points. Right now, he is giving you absolutely nothing. He gave you 20 minutes and laid an egg. This is unacceptable, but this is where we are. He has completely played himself out of any rhythm that he had when he was initially playing before that Raptors series where he couldn't play and he was in and out. And so that's where we are with that with Matisse. Furkan Korkmaz. Okay. Let me deal on Furkan real quick. Furkan Korkmaz, for all Philly fans that are listening, I'm sure you guys already know, and if you don't, I'll love to be the one to inform you about Furkan Korkmaz. And it's really not even about Furkan Korkmaz. My energy is misdirected. It's not directed at Furkan. It's really directed at Doc Rivers, the idiot that he is. Very stubborn. Doc Rivers has been playing Furkan for the past year, this year included. So 2 years in totality. Furkan Korkmaz was also playing for the last regime before him, for Brett Brown. Furkan Korkmaz was the guy that was supposed to replace J.J. Redick as the next best shooter on this team. Never successfully ended up doing so. He is not a pure shooter. So just that in itself, I don't. Who in that front office could have expected Furkan Korkmaz to be the guy to replace J.J. Redick is beyond me. If you watch him, he cannot shoot the ball. He cannot shoot. And that's not just me talking. Okay. It's not me talking out of my you-know-what. I'm sorry again. I'm trying, guys. Forgive me. It's just... Furkan, Doc Rivers. I just don't know which one to touch on. It's really Doc Rivers, though. Again, Furkan can't shoot threes. This past off season, and you know what the thing about Furkan, before I get off of Furkan, the thing about Furkan that annoys me is that he'll sometimes do just enough for the coach to think that there's some promise in him when there's not. There's really no promise in Furkan, and I'm saying this as a Sixers fan. No disrespect to Furkan. You know, I know he plays hard. He maxes out on what he can do, but not really. Because at the end of the day, being that your main job on the floor is to shoot the ball and shoot wide open threes and to hit them, and you came into this entire year, you shot the three from 27% from three. That's awful. That's awful. Even good 3-point shooters, even your worst 3-point shooters shoot a better percentage than that. LeBron has eternally been a bad 3-point shooter. Gave you like 35% as a non-3-point shooter. Much says so a 3-point shooter or a guy that literally is supposed to specialize in that area. And so that's not what he did. Doc Rivers, though, continues to play him regardless of the circumstances, knowing that he can't shoot, still puts him out on the floor to spread the floor. Hear the irony in that. In the end, you have a guy that Daryl Morey drafted in the second round. His name is Isaiah Joe. He was drafted not this year. You would have thought he was drafted this year. Uh, considering the minutes that he gets, he's a second year player that gets absolutely no minutes, and that's thanks to Doc Rivers. The guy has been held down and hasn't been able to flourish nor develop on this team. You have had teams like the Nets and other teams before the deadline, that were looking to acquire a player in Isaiah Joe, albeit, his very small popularity, since he hasn't played much of any basketball games or any meaningful basketball under Doc Rivers. Right now, he could be a player that this team could utilize. After this game that we just watched, only being able to make 6 or 7 threes in the game out of like 30 or out of however many attempts that we had, it's disgraceful. But again, you have a guy in Isaiah Joe, and I'm not saying he's this great player, but he is a guy for the job, for what we need and lack. You'd like to believe he can help in those areas. And part of the reason why Doc doesn't have any trust in him, I'd like to believe, is that he doesn't play. So you're putting him in a meaningful game time situation, clutch atmosphere, and you don't know what to expect out of him because you've never put him in any meaningful games leading up to the playoffs in the regular season. So that's all the fault of Doc Rivers. There's a lot of things that Doc Rivers do. We already know about his time, about what he does when it comes to adjustments, in games of high magnitude. This is what he does. Nonetheless, I would like to have an Isaiah Joe sighting in the next game because we desperately need the shooting. He's our best pure shooter, and he doesn't even play. Yes, you have a guy like Niang that's a great shooter that can shoot the ball, but he has a lot of weaknesses, and him just being out on the floor is a liability for obvious reasons. So then your next best shooter is Tyrese Maxey. He's already been killing it, so I don't really expect nothing more from him apart from what he's already doing. And then there's Isaiah Joe. He doesn't look to me like a liability. He can play full court press defense. I like his defense when I see him out on the floor, and I like his shot making. The only thing is that with the low minutes or the very small minutes that he gets when he gets a chance to play, he doesn't make shots, or he doesn't make his first shot. But that's mainly due to him not having a rhythm and not being able to sustain it because he's barely out on the floor. If I'm out on the floor for 1 minute and I'm just here jacking up shots, and then I know I'm not going to see the floor again, it's going to be very hard to get a rhythm together and actually be able to contribute to my team. So it's just one of those things where Doc is pretty much the single reason for a lot of our woes as a team. I have no idea the stuff that he calls, but I do believe it could be a lot better. We're very stagnant when we're out there on the floor, especially when James Harden has the ball. He's clearly not able to beat his man, so playing his style of basketball is not it doesn't contribute to winning right now. So playing like how he plays, it needs to stop. We need to rotate. We need to move, have the guys moving a little bit more than what they're doing, because right now it's just not working. Just passing the ball to Danny Green in the corner and just expecting him to hit his shots all the time is just, it's not something that I can rely on. And the Miami Heat, they are a front-running team in the hugest way that I can think of. They don't want this smoke. They really don't. Jimmy Butler, you don't want this smoke. Jimmy Butler is the best player on the team. That tells you all that you need to know. I am looking forward to going to the Sixers game. I strongly believe in both Sixers games when they go back to Philly. They will win both games. Joel Embiid will not miss game 3. I just don't see it. I can't see it. I honestly can't see it. Knowing how far he's come, winning the MVP, and yes, I'm saying it, Joel Embiid should firmly win this MVP this year. I couldn't see it any other way. Um, being the MVP, I just can't see him losing to a team that he knows if he was playing, they're better than. The Heat, you know, you can just see it on the floor. Joel Embiid being there, boy, I can't wait. I honestly can't wait. It's a shame because it's funny at the same time because the Heat win these two games without Joel Embiid. It's going to be funny to see what happens when he comes back. To see it, the Heat could potentially lose four straight. You know, Joel Embiid. You have to understand the Sixers are missing an MVP quality player. You know, he is the MVP. What he brings to the defense, what he brings to the defensive side of the floor, and offense is second to none. Uh, he's just an overall player. The Sixers miss him desperately, and right now there's a lot of players. That's what I'm saying. In terms of bench points, the Sixers only had 20 points off the bench. Like that's ridiculous. The Heat probably had like 50 points. So there's not much to really talk about again. You look at Tobias Harris, 20 points, 21 points. James Harden, 20. Tyrese Maxey, 34. Danny Green, 3 points out of 9 shots. Paul Reed, 4. Korkmaz, 8. 5. 8, 5 is 13 plus 4. What is that? 17. 18. Charles Bassey had 1 point, so that's 18 points off the bench. We were never a good team when it came to bench scoring, but again, these role players that are garbage right now, they'll be a lot better when they have wide open shots. It's just that they're being relied on to make some contested and difficult shots because they can't beat the defense. They can't the only two people that can penetrate and get into the teeth of the defense really seem to only be two players right now, and that's Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey. James Harden 2 times on every 20 attempts, so I can't really even, that's why I didn't throw James Harden in there. Nonetheless, we get Joel Embiid on the floor. We'll be able to play 4-on-3, 5-on-4 basketball, however you want to look at it. The Heat play a swarming defense. Joel Embiid coming out of this Raptors series will be ready. He'll be more prepared in handling that, and he'll know how to attack. There's nobody down low that can stop Joel Embiid. There's nobody on the damn team that can stop Joel Embiid. I don't care if they triple team him, double team him. You're going to have to throw 4 people at him, and they still won't be able to stop him. And if you swarm him that way, then they'll give him three outlets or 3 people to throw the ball to. And even if that first person he throws to is not open, that's what leads to the hockey assist. And then that's when we'll have a rhythmic offense that will get to work. I have a lot of pent up energy in me right now, as you can see. Definitely need to definitely gotta direct that energy somewhere else, though. Sorry. Nonetheless, it's been a pleasure having this discussion with you guys. Hopefully you guys give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And again, even if you don't like it, subscribe.